everyone, it has been quite a while. So I'm going to do a book review of a YA novel. This will be my first YA book review. The book that I want to talk about today is We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. Part of the reason that I want to talk about this book is because there was so much hype about this book and so much positive feedback about this book, and I was like, well, I mean, if I'm gonna be reading a YA novel and I want to get a little more invested in that genre, you know, it sounds like this would be a great place to start. I have felt so misled by all of the positive reviews and positive feedback that I had to create this alternative reading, alternative view, different probably an unpopular opinion. The story is written from a first-person narrative, and right away it's an unreliable narrator. She tells us at the very beginning that she has experienced an accident. There's been some crazy head trauma, and she doesn't remember everything surrounding her accident. She doesn't remember what led up to it. She doesn't remember why she was found the way that she was, and she gets crazy migraines, crazy headaches. So as the premise goes, it actually sounds like a pretty cool book. You've got some pretty stereotypical aspects to the characterization and to the book and so on. But overall, it's a pretty intriguing kind of book. It's meant to be very fast-paced, and it succeeds in that. So she and her family go to this private island. Okay, that's a thing. They go to this private island within the United States, and their extended family gets together every summer. She has two cousins that are the same age as her. One of her cousins has a quasi step cousin, I guess. So no relation to the family. The family is white, and significantly, the friend of the family, Gat, he is Indian. So all four of them grow up, and there's a love interest between Cadence and Gat, who is the only non-family member on the island. A lot of talk about privilege, you know, charity, and there's a lot of opportunity to discuss race, but it's done in quasi-disturbing ways. For those of you that aren't aware, all humans are the same species. So race is actually a pretty contested term because genetically speaking, there's no such thing as race. One of the examples that I found disturbing was that Cadence was going through this phenomenon of three, and so she kept kind of adapting fairy tales and stories and folklore that involved three characters. One of them was seemingly modeled off of her relationship with Gat. She was describing what I believed to be herself as this teeny tiny Thumbelina princess, and this Thumbelina princess married a mouse. I think it's just a precarious kind of way to treat race, using the analogy those two characters are different species from one another. The cultural heritage of Gat is never really addressed. You find out later in the book that there is some tension, some racial tension from the perspective of Cadence's grandfather, who is, you know, essentially the patriarch. But even the ways in which the author talks about race and describes race when she's overtly talking about it certainly wasn't poignant, but it didn't even feel accurate in terms of what it means for a white person to be racist. What really bugged me about the book and the experience of reading it was the fact that everything was said. Nothing was shown to you, nothing was implied. There was really no sense of subtlety. Instead, everything was told to you very point blank. The phrase that "we were a beautiful family, we are a beautiful family" was repeated over and over again, and there's no indication of what makes a family beautiful, what standard of beauty is being discussed. Physical description did not exist. They were tall, some of them with blonde hair, until she dyed it. Are we led to believe that it's a superficial kind of outward appearance beauty, or is it because we're an old family, we came over on the Mayflower, check off the trope? So the reader is explicitly told, I am Cadence, I do this, this is Gat, he does this. This is Johnny, he does this. You don't ever get a sense that you will ever see an example of how these characters are like this or what makes them like this. I also found the dialogue between all of the characters. They were all like 15 to 17 years old throughout the story, and you know, that's not how teenagers talk. It's just not. I don't know enough about the young adult marketing to really understand if this is a kind of a common example where people that are not teenagers are writing characters that are teenagers, and it's not that they don't remember what it was like necessarily to be a teenager, but they, as an adult, feel a responsibility to create kind of aspirational dialogue and what they feel that teenagers should talk like and how they feel that they should behave. Because I knew there was going to be a twist, that was the only thing I knew about this book. So here's where it gets kind of spoilery, and this is the biggest problem I have with the book. If you haven't read it and you want to read it because you want to know about the hype and so on, stop watching now. So as we evolve through the story, turns out that she and the three cousins, they set fire to the main house on the island, their grandfather's house, and they killed the fucking dogs. Right away I was just like, this is too much. Like, I was upset by the thought that they would set fire to a house and forget. Like, right away, you're just like, why? Okay, if I'm planning on burning a house down, is there anything in there that I might not want burned to the fucking ground? Oh, what about my beloved grandfather's dogs? Why don't I get them out of the house? So then she remembers a bit more, and it's always like, is that the only thing you remember? Turns out that she and the three cousins doused the house in gasoline and brought kindling. Right away, red flags. You would not have a private island with remote access to any amenities, including a hospital or fire department, and not have the basic fire safety understanding. You're gonna have little campfires and bonfires, you have open flames that as a family, as you grow up, you learn how quickly a house fire can catch without any help whatsoever from your deranged children burning the place down. As if that wasn't frustrating enough as a reader, to be like, okay, I have to suspend my disbelief to just understand that these wealthy, educated people who live on this isolated island would not know anything about fire safety. That is just bullshit. She douses the main floor and lights a match. Why would the plan be to light the match when you're all still in the fucking house? What moronic plan is that? I've suspended my disbelief enough to be like, okay, they've actually gone ahead and done this plan because they think they're so revolutionary, whatever. Why would the plan be to light the house that you have doused in gasoline from within the house? Why would the plan include everyone still being in the house when you light the match? It's not like she had this box of matches and they slipped out of her hand. No, she was just standing there being like, burn, I want it to burn them all. Lights the match and just, oh, where did it all go? Oh, that's so quick, huh? Who would have fucking thought? Overall, I was not impressed with this book. Unpopular opinion, but I stand by it. Also, no one was upset with her. No one was upset. Not even from the perspective of like, you're the only one remaining. All my kids fucking died in a fire and you were fine. No, that was an incredibly dysfunctional family. There's no way that they'd be like, oh my God, this is what will bring us together. We will now not be dysfunctional. Now we will just hug and love one another and become emotionally available. They would be fucking pissed at her. They would like tackle her in the hallway and like scratch her face with their long fingernails. They would not be cool with her in general. But then there's like this weird part at the end where she's like, well, now that I can remember it, you know, no one's upset with me, and I don't even need forgiveness because, you know, I didn't really do anything wrong. So you're basically a fucking sociopath, is what you're telling us. And in the, like, ethereal version of Mirren, she was like, oh, I'm sad that I'm not alive because I lied so much. No, you're sad that you're not alive because you were fucking burned to the ground by your stupid, idiotic cousin when you were 15. That's why you're mad. That's why you're sad. That's why you wish you were still alive. Not because you lied a little bit. Now that it's a bit more widespread and people will have read it, I'm really interested, especially in people that enjoyed this book, like what it is that that made you like it. I would really enjoy like an interaction, especially with people that enjoyed it, but definitely with people that did not enjoy it, because I think there will only be like 3 of us. We will have to start a little support group. Thank you very much for watching. It's been a pleasure to break back into my hiatus with a disparaging, unpopular opinion about a very popular YA novel. Yep.